Over the last several years, I've had the good fortune of traveling to secluded parts of my country, but this journey felt different. In a special collaboration with the Department of Forest and Park Services, I want to take you into the Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary to show you not just the natural beauty of this biodiversity treasure of Bhutan, but also explore the unique highland community here. In this series, we explore the culture, history, stories and local legends of the Brokpa community. Come with me as I explore Merak and Sakteng in the far east of the Kingdom of Bhutan. Before I finally take you into Merak and Sakteng, I would like to introduce to you the story of biodiversity conservation in Bhutan and what we need to know about national parks and protected areas in the country. Bhutan's constitution mandates that a minimum 60% of the country should remain under forest cover for eternity. Today, the country has more than 70% forest cover. But how much do we know about how this vision is really put to work? Bhutan's commitment to forest conservation comes to life in the many efforts carried out in these national parks and protected areas by forest rangers. This special collaboration with the Nature Conservation Division is not just the story of Merak and Sakteng. It isn't just a showcase of Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary. It is a special tribute to the men and women in green who work in these rural parts of the country. Pema Rinzin is one of the many forest rangers who work in the sanctuary.
Mapa I think rija sungchup Sakteng rija sungchup nangka unique danila mapa semchin lokaita mapa madu red panda icham apchu thaga rokti tha Sakteng panila upchu dong kareche uthi bucha ni mapa semchin nampana chu jakti chawi gindan dini othan nangka lakparang ai wakte hangthong chani thaga ga rokti ga misirga choliga chotang zaliga zatang yeliga uji ginchiba madu chodiki asianila mangpu oma mapatani rajini tang busunchu maparang roktirang likpu roktiga culture namila roktira rangula likpu chonita ni a conservation ta maparang likpu dinamila onya deki ashimi ge torang roktiga malamuk sepo likpu ani madothru ani a Sakteng rija sunchu nangkanila uji to thongchala.
Efforts of protecting these areas are constantly challenged by issues such as deforestation, poaching, human-wildlife conflict, modernization, climate change and so much more. The sanctuary also faces a challenging task of enforcing regulations on the community who have been living by the land for generations. Besides the cultural stories of the people of Merak and Sakteng, I hope this series of videos also educates you on the many conservation efforts that's been done by the Nature Conservation Division under the Department of Forest and Park Services on not just Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary, but also on the many national parks that the Kingdom of Bhutan has. My journey to the far east of Bhutan takes me towards Tshogchhang district under which Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary is located. Covering the two places of Merak and Sakteng. Yes, these are two different places. After a 1-hour drive towards Radhi, we tread on a 2-hour farm road journey that takes us to our first community of Merak. We are greeted by Forest Ranger Pema Rinzin and his team, our host and guides for the trip. Oh wow. Oh, this is so cozy. The landscape here reminded me of Ha. Maybe it was its close ridges, the higher altitude, and the overall greenish hue of the mountains. The cluster community in Merak is so close-knit with houses right next to each other, with only a muddy path dividing each house. What makes Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary different from other protected areas in Bhutan are the unique communities of Brokpas who live in the sanctuary. So, who are the Brokpas? It is believed that they first arrived in Bhutan at a place of open glades, which they named as Sakteng, the land of bamboos. The community still decided to move to higher altitudes, but those who couldn't travel further decided to stay back in Sakteng. The new settlement in the highlands led by deity Aum Jomo is believed to be Merak. Story goes that the tribe set the place on fire to clear the forest for the settlement, hence the name Merak,
set on fire. The Brokpas are semi-nomadic people. The families settled here take their livestock grazing towards their Tsamdro, grazing land, once a year in the mountains, where they live in huts and sheds for 4 months. They are economically dependent on livestock products as the lands in these parts of the country don't grow much. Brokpas are a very distinct tribe of people speaking a unique language, which sounds like an interesting mix of Kurtub, Tibetan and Shajok. But the most distinct feature is their traditional attire. It's so beautiful. You'll be instantly mesmerized by what they wear, whether it's the women's maroon pink jackets, really hard exterior hats with interesting shape, and skirts, or the sheepskin that the men wear. It is quite a sight indeed. Coming up next, I got quite a shocking welcome during my trip here, but a very memorable one indeed. Alcohol is an essential part of Eastern hospitality, but my oh my, the Brokpas sure know how to take it up a notch. When you visit Merak, you'll be welcomed by a group of locals, mostly women, who'll prepare Tshogchhang. What is it? It is a welcome ceremony where you're offered alcohol in a gathering. In Merak and Sakteng, they have a very distinct way of welcoming the guests here. They call it the Tshogchhang as well. Although this is something that you see in the rest of the country as well, the kind of theatrical ceremony that they have here is very distinct, so you're in for a treat. For the first drink, you have to take around 3 sips. 3 sips, 3 sips. And if you say no, the ladies are going to come and pinch you. So there's no escaping this. So they just finished a performance where you're supposed to take the additional sips that they serve you during the song that they perform. So the lady who's serving the alcohol, they come towards you and they force feed the alcohol to you 3 times, and you can't say no. Otherwise, you're going to get pinched, or I don't know what happened. I'm already like halfway gone now. But the performances are really good, so you can watch that. Interacting with these women in Merak was such a joyful and freeing experience. I, for the first time in a very long time, felt very free and wonderful, and this was just the perfect occasion for it. One of the best ways to explore and marvel at the beauty of Bhutan's protected national parks is through trekking trails. One such trail to explore the highlands in Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary is the trek to Jomokinkar, the abode of Aum Jomo. Yeah, madam, ready to get on? Good morning. It's about 8 a.m. in Merak village, and today we make our way towards Jomokinkar, the abode of the local deity, Jomo goddess. So, yeah, we're waiting to pack things, some of the last minute things, and get ready to move on.
Amcım temi intoxicating, bungaga çakşa body şungaga çakşa intişonu bütün bungaga çakşa body şujeme şungaga çakşa şu.
We're actually on the way to Jomokinkar, and this place over here, the stream that you see, is basically a place where you purify yourself. So as you saw, Ma'am Karma threw some water on us, and this is how you continue the journey in your purest form. So let's continue.
Brokti thai ga tan dilakam ni ala omnin aiba uji amla purified uji Tshogchhang phini ni thasi pasho neranga uji hang chala ranga private part se tha gumdale gire yangela. Then after crossing with uji gaije ke minang khuli mo phama pinche ibirang gire minang khuli mo nela onen gyola nela osek pasho ranga chala dazin lok buri khile yangela but every time te mangela la rokti uji especially dawage pache songa ga rokti oda occasion ga 가오니 안쪽으로
다시가 행한 탈리킬이 아니구나. 오케이.
나 오늘 군달리킬이랑 엄저 랑티 군마다 브라기 미스 안 존이라 엄저 랑아빠 어디 결을 없대 당보 룩스 아니라.
야 마마. Why you go trekking to experience this. Look at that. That is amazing. Absolutely gorgeous.
Karpodala gali karpo se payi Palagio, palagio. Wow.
Wow. Yola says, wow indeed.
Wow factor.
Wow factor.
Wow factor.
Here at one of the yak herders' houses in Tshogchhang. So let's check out the interior, shall we? Come. How's the lighting here? So we'll be spending the night here, all of us sleeping together. Oh, this is amazing. Merak Sakteng has some of the highest number of nomadic yak herders who actually spend 3 to 4 months taking their yaks to these highlands to graze. And if you come here, this is where you see the existence of this kind of livelihood.
Merak Sakteng takanchu thamchi gonor semchen gatin chua adigi shumi bra lei dangne bo sonam ga lei ali ga dawna la ai ga sajing bu manja ni kini bo chamro gotini ni yak ni god ni chuncha da shuncha la ka lagong sum ga chuan song bak shu ha ya dangne la namising chamro gi malang pa kangal shuk chilurang othala da shuncha la ni chen ma pe ga da jum chi kudang chima gi adigi shu hangini bo ne rok aja phone ga jintan dine bo koma da bo an mangyo ani chunam sam likbu ni 나우 차우 중니부 한강을 션단지니부 이 브라박다 슐리마올라 다 슈jal라.
I made it to the abode of Aum Jomo, Jomokinkar. When we finally arrived at the stone hut of the Highlander family, the mist had enveloped the ridge suddenly, barely giving us a peek of the top of Aum Jomokinkar. But there's something else at the base. There's a temple, a small temple, standing right next to a small lake. The powerful female deity is sculptured in a magnificent art form surrounded by nothing. It's absolutely mesmerizing.
Ei bakka kini mangini bu Merak Sakteng ni so Tshogchhang ni sekha hang ani bu ni roka sewa tapni ni optur sakpo ei Merak Sakteng shu zali ga kini bu ta jami ga kini bu gencha ga rik kintan deni bu Aum Jomo gi koma gi rikni phawa ni optur sakpo Aum Jomo go kudang demo ten ni Aum Jomo gi hang goma zagan jamban yegan tamji Aum Jomo gi rikni phawa adi shu optur sakpo ten chogan shu Aum Jomo go kudang demo kila da shunjala.
As the time came close for us to return, I stood on one of those ridges, staring at the beautiful sunrise as the clouds started disappearing. What makes trekking in Bhutan unique? The trails here don't just take you to higher grounds to show you how small the world looks beneath you. It takes you closer to faraway communities of people to show you how big their hearts are. The trails here don't just take you higher up steep ridges to make you feel like you've conquered the universe, but it brings you closer to a higher power with mythical tales and stories that show you how little you know of the universe. Until we meet again, Jomokinkar, thank you for this blessing. In my last video of the Merak Sakteng series, we are walking all the way to Sakteng. We took a grueling 9-hour trek from Merak to Sakteng through Nakjungla. By the way, this is what Nakjungla looks like in winter.
There's something quite beautiful about trekking in the rain as well. I know the mud and the slush that you have to sort of step on is a little uncomfortable, but still, just look at the path.
forest kata quality dang wai se bunjal me pika bune un kan ta presajal
Mil ani ramola.
ola de go mil ta oni ngala
Pulang kana mo nyon sa kam.
thara mo na ut bra udo pra sha anchoni la bra lai ba mar ba me
Om ta ko mai pani camping da tu da de tu na ka simpura han chala
Jibuani rokte bransa dila ka na rokte da marsha mo unjela bra de masto ba mo unjela uti jimbaji forest ka life show hang tough line la forest ka songo shini agaz junior da ni gehap ka junior gehap nga jamning nga junior ba titang opponent ni ibirang ni access la mila onya dike toughness la to conserve that but community help manila I bakti alone forest alone cannot conserve ni protect ali marbila mila onya dike at the end hang pila nanila why singtitang likpa thongma singtitang green an thongma kam oba as a forester mapata mangpiran lek manja fe aisha nila chamchang rule enforce ali khena mila roktiga team gai bekena ginnan dinu jantiga thega sikpata omata laita namisam shono phena julila
While the close ridges of Merak bear resemblance to the landscape of Ha, Sakteng's open glades reminded me of Ura in Bhutan. Although the main settlements form a similar cluster as that of Merak, the valley here is bigger and more open. When the Brokpas came here from Sona, led by Aum Jomo, the ones who couldn't travel further to Merak's higher altitude chose to settle here. I'm told that there's a place in Sakteng that tells a story of the history of the people here in a way even most Bhutanese have never really seen. The mural at the Jomokinkar temple is a breathtaking canvas that tells the story of how the people of Merak and Sakteng came here, unfurling a magical tale of redemption, supernatural quests, devotion and resilience. What is the story? Eons ago, there lived a tyrant lord in Sona, Tibet, who tormented his people during his reign. One day, he ordered the Brokpas to remove the head of a mountain as it was blocking the sun's rays from falling on his palace. But even after toiling day and night, the Brokpas couldn't even remove a small tip of the mountain. This was when Aum Jomo, disguised as a local woman, told the people, "Wouldn't it be easier to cut off the head of a lord than a mountain?" This was how the people put an end to the Lord's tyranny. It was after this incident that she led the Brokpas to the south and into Bhutan. In the tale of the Brokpas, we often forget the name of the one that actually led the people here, under the supernatural guidance of deity Aum Jomo. It is believed that Lamjaropa, who led the tribe, had pierced paths through rocks as they climbed mountains on their treacherous journey.
The story of how the highlanders of Merak and Sakteng came to be is definitely one of the most fascinating origin pieces, if I may call it, and the way it's been documented in this beautifully painted mural in Jomokinkar in Sakteng is definitely a must visit. I had no idea there was a temple like this.
My travel to the Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary and visiting the villages of Merak and Sakteng has been nothing short of extraordinary. Each experience shed light to all the diverse and rich cultural heritage of Bhutan. But it also brought me closer to understanding the efforts and tasks carried out by forest rangers of the Department of Forest and Park Services to ensure the sustainability of communities' livelihood and equally the protection of its environment. On this journey, I hope you've learned more about conservation and the work put in by our soldiers in green. I hope you felt the excitement of soaring high and coming close to the legends hidden behind mountains. I hope you've laughed with full heart along with the women who inspire us to be fully ourselves. But most of all, I hope you've come close to discovering a side to yourself that makes you want to explore, learn, travel, try new things, and venture into a world that you've only read and heard about. It's your turn now. So, what are you waiting for?